Hello, friends. Welcome to a new installment of the Bearded and Nerdy podcast. I have entirely stopped keeping track of how many episodes there are, largely because I feel like it's more important to discuss that we have embraced a new format of the Bearded and Nerdy podcast here.
Very interesting format.
Yeah, you see, one thing that I always wanted to bring to the table was adding an additional video element to this, so that way I could bring this to a few more platforms and truly, I want to say, break some new ground, try some new things, and hey, if there is no video component because something messed up, then completely disregard everything that I'm saying.
This is an interesting experiment after all.
I completely agree. The really great thing is that we are now subject to any and all sounds that occur here in the apartment complex, of which there are many.
Dogs barking, sirens.
Yeah, a variety of interesting sounds that we have no control over. So keep on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, here on the Bearded and Nerdy podcast, talking about all things superhero, movies, TV shows, comics, conventions, you name it, I got it. That's the old quote, right? And, of course, today we got not just myself, but we have Mr. Brad Burkhart here in the fold.
Hello, everybody.
And so it's 2021 now.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's a lot that has clearly happened over the course of the last 9 months to a year now. We're closing on a year of this.
It's already been a year?
It's been about a year. I mean, we're coming up in March is when everything started going down for me. So
holy crap.
Yeah. So that being said, I definitely don't want to focus too much on the past because screw 2020. We are done with that. It is over and we are done. I want to focus on the new stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of new stuff coming out. So I don't want to make this age. What's coming out for superheroes in 2021? There's a lot. Mm-hmm. There's a lot. There's a lot that's already come out in the form of new television shows. Towards the end of 2020, we had Wonder Woman 84, which will get its own thing for sure.
The new initiatives from Marvel and DC.
Yeah, we've got we had WandaVision coming out on Disney Plus, which I watched, was a big fan of.
Falcon and Winter Soldier's not far off away either.
Yeah, exactly. So there's clearly a lot to discuss. So we decided to hone in on just one subject today. That one subject being probably the most anticipated facet of anything that superheroes have to offer are the movies, right?
Yep.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the anticipated movies coming out here in 2021 for our superheroes, our DCEU, our MCU, our offshoots, right? You know, the Sony side of things, and then we've got a little something cooking up for perhaps 2022. But you know what the impacts of 2021 will, of course, push some of those
remains
things,
to be seen,
right? So. But before we get into all that, you know, it's not like Brad and I spent the entire day talking movies. Brad and I ran some errands today.
Very interesting errands today.
Very interesting errands. So, Brad, where did we just come from? Not Chipotle. We did just come from Chipotle.
It was very good Chipotle.
It was good Chipotle. Consistent product. Big fan.
So we came from a comic book store called Coliseum of Comics.
So I finally take. There's one of the sounds, guys.
Oh.
Take a shot every time you hear one of the sounds. Man, I hope they close that one up real soon.
You're gonna kill these people. 4 shots already.
Oh my God.
5.
Okay. Yeah, we're done here. So, man, I hope that turns off soon.
All right, y'all owe me 7 shots now.
8. So, should we wait? No, we're good.
So wait, that was 9 shots. All right, guys, if you're watching this podcast,
slow down. We don't condone this anymore. So
spaced out this entire section.
Yeah,
please.
this doesn't exist anymore. So, Brad and I just came from Coliseum of Comics. So, if you are in Florida, you are a fan of comic books, you likely are aware of this brand.
It's like one of the most well-known comic stores in Central Florida.
Yeah, and there's a lot of locations. So chances are you may have been to the location.
They said there's
Tampa.
8 separate locations.
Yeah, so I've never been to a single one of them.
Neither have I.
And so Kissimmee's location, which is about 45 minutes away from where I live here in Winter Park. It's I think it's like the main base. I think it's like home base.
It's definitely main base, main branch.
As far as like all of it. So we decided it was my birthday last week. Brad came up this weekend to visit, and I said, well, we got to go. We got to check it out. So, of course, we did, and we geeked out for a good hour in there.
We got lost.
It was awesome.
There's
it was
so much
awesome.
stuff.
There's a lot of stuff in there that we really want but can't afford yet. So if you see me bringing home a $250 statuette, then you know why.
And that means we're eating ramen for the next couple weeks.
Yeah, for sure. It means, but we did come back home with some things that we could afford.
We did.
So Brad, show me what you got. Give us one. Give us one or two.
All right, so I'll start
because you came back with a few things.
We'll talk about one of the other things later, but I actually just Netflix. I'll mention Netflix. They have an Ultraman anime. And Ultraman's a giant Japanese icon that's been around forever.
Like a kaiju of sorts?
He's basically like the original Power Ranger.
So like giant monsters,
giant man who transforms to fight giant monsters. That's what he does.
Heck yeah, we love to see it.
So what they did, Marvel, they're now publishing an Ultraman comic. And there are 5 issues in thus far.
Look at that.
Here. And I've been very interested. I've known about Ultraman. Like, I'm a big kaiju fan, and seeing...
I mean, we've been talking about Ultraman since we were kiddos.
So it's like, seeing Ultraman come to light in terms of animation and now in the pages of a comic book.
Yeah, show them the covers. There's some great stuff here.
So this first one's based off one of the original episodes of the show that was in the 60s, I want to say.
Yeah, it's a variant.
It's the variant.
Yeah, just shuffle through those.
There's
some good stuff here, right? That's why we buy comics, right? For the covers.
And the second one is a pretty artsy cover. I think it looks pretty neat. Shows Science Patrol people in Ultraman.
Looks good, yeah.
And then this is like a first issue type cover that's very cartoony looking.
Awesome. Love to see it. Good variation amongst that.
And I only have issues 1, 2, and 5.
Yeah, I got to get 3 and 4 here from the Bruce B. Downs location, right?
Yeah. When we get back home, that's one of the first things we want to do.
For sure. Did you get anything else?
Well, I did.
I say that like I wasn't there.
Yeah, you know
Tell
exactly
the people what you got.
So, I'm a big Shazam fan. And throughout the New 52 and Rebirth, Jeff Johns took forever to write this. It's his whole complete volume of Shazam and the Magic Kingdoms.
Wow.
Basically, it's a lot like Thor in terms of the 7 kingdoms, the 7 realms. And you have the Shazam family going through and...
The Shazamily.
The Shazamily going through the realms. It's definitely a lot different. You see Billy's father. I know that right off the bat.
I love this art.
And like everything Shazam,
cover.
like this cover, just Billy Batson in high school with a toothpick.
Love that.
Or a pencil.
My God, I do love that art. That's just.
Oh, it fits the style perfectly.
That's like that really like quintessential like 2000s art. Love that.
Oh man, and let me tell you, I was this close to getting a Power Rangers comic book, Shattered Grid.
Shattered Grid, yeah.
And then, Michael, would you like to explain us what you got?
Yeah. So, I'm a big fan of collecting first issues of things since I read a lot of comic books via subscription services and YouTube explanations such as Comicstorian and Comics Explained.
So what are the subscription services for comics? Because I know there's a few, but I don't know much about
Marvel Unlimited is one that I've made use of. I had it for a while, and then I wasn't using it as much. And then I was using DC Universe for a bit there until that one went kaput. I gotta get DC Unlimited now so I can do that. So, but I have been recently, over the past couple of years, been more interested in building a physical comic. A physical comic collection.
Yeah.
So with my physical comic collection, I'm less focused on getting stuff that's new that's coming out, and more focused on getting like the really essential backlogs of stuff that I just want to have in the collection. So really iconic runs. So I typically have like things like Watchmen in my comics.
Yeah.
I've got like Batman's Hush. I've got I've got
All-Star
Superman, yeah,
Shazam,
Monster Society of Evil. Yeah, so like, the big stuff, right? So of course it doesn't get much bigger than Ultimate Spider-Man.
One of the best comic runs hands down.
Ever. I mean, the run that perhaps saved Spider-Man. It's the run that saved Marvel.
It's the run that saved 616 Universe.
Yeah, for those that don't know, I think I've talked about the Ultimate Universe a few times. It was when Marvel was going bankrupt, they restarted their entire thing, and this Ultimates run introduced a whole new series of fans to
Peter Parker.
Yeah, so, and and one thing that you guys might not be aware of necessarily, many of you might, is that so this run written by Brian Michael Bendis, right? Also eventually introduced a character we're very familiar with, Miles Morales.
Starting his own PS4 game recently.
Yeah, so this is the run that started Marvel's Ultimate Spider-Man is honestly what a lot of people associate with Spider-Man. Like what we know about Spider-Man largely comes from the Amazing Spider-Man run. So I mean, a truly incredible read. And if you read beyond this first volume, oh my God, it gets heavy and eventually transfers into Miles Morales. So got volume 1. I cannot wait to reread this. And then because DC has been coming out with some fun new stuff.
After the whole death metal ended the entire universe. We are now in
DC Future State. So DC did yet another revamp with brand new variations of characters that we already know, such as Batman, Superman. So this is called DC Future State. And they have, and since this is a recent one, I picked up DC Future State #1, Justice League.
Justice League.
Because there's Batman, there's Superman.
There's so many different.
Aquaman #1 comes out next week.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah. So I got Justice League DC Future State #1, which features variations of characters that we already know. So we've got.
So what do we know of Future State thus far?
So right now, and I really don't know all the names of the alter egos and the protagonists right now. I just got it after all. But we feature just variations of superheroes that we already know. So if we know Aquaman as Arthur Curry, we know Batman as Bruce Wayne, we know Diana Prince as Wonder Woman. These are not necessarily we have completely different people taking on the roles of these characters. And they come to their they have entirely different origins. So and in some cases different powers. So of course, super excited to dive into DC Future State Justice League #1. So that's going to be on my reading list here in a bit.
It's a very impressive reading list.
Super excited. Super excited. Always adding more stuff to the list here. So obviously incredibly exciting stuff coming up for December 2021 in terms of comics. Looking forward to, ideally, if I like this enough, I'll be getting more into Future State. Definitely getting Aquaman #1 next week.
Oh, for sure.
Seeing Andy Curry bust some heads, ideally, right?
I still need to get Jonathan Kent's Superman and Superman Warworld. So
right.
We need to get into that.
For sure. So, but one of the things I definitely am excited to talk about here are our original topics. So we got some movies coming out for 2021.
Quite a few. More than usual.
So, all right. So, and here's the interesting thing. These movies are being released. On various dates. Some dates are to be determined. Some dates have already been listed. Some of these may
be pushed back to 2022.
Yeah, and some of these movies may not even come out in theaters at all.
They might just go straight to streaming.
Right to streaming, as we saw with Wonder Woman 84. That clearly movies not going directly to theaters does not always negatively impact how
successful the movie is.
Exactly. However, it may impact the reception.
Yes.
So one thing I heard, now this is not for us to get into Wonder Woman 84. But we had some mixed reviews. Now, Brad.
Yes.
When you watch Wonder Woman 84, generally, what did you think?
I thought it was all right.
You thought it was all right?
It's definitely above or mid-tier MCU, if you want to put it in that range. If you're going to
compare it to an MCU movie, right, it was probably above or mid-tier.
The characters felt fine. I would argue maybe the movie was a tad too long. And maybe a few other little nitpicks, but that's my main gripe is it didn't deserve to be 2.5 hours.
So I liked it, right?
Yes.
But I know a lot of people that didn't think it was all that good. Now, when I watched it, I thought it was fine. But I'm watching superhero movies at home all the time. And so are you, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that these movies that are potentially coming out in 2021 not coming out in theaters could negatively impact the reception? Because I think that if people watched Wonder Woman 84 in theaters, they would genuinely like it more.
I think so. Because if you look at Marvel, right? Marvel's had this formula.
It's built for the theatrical release.
Exactly. And they've had this formula. I would say I'm tired of the Marvel formula. Like, frankly, like
these movies have to be seen in theaters to be recognized for what they are.
Yeah, and if you see it at home, say like if Winter Soldier Forever Ago came out at home instead of in the movie theater,
would we have liked it that much?
Exactly, and most people consider it the best, one of the best MCU films.
But would they have thought it was that good if they didn't see it in theaters?
I don't know. I can't determine that.
Exactly. So that's the thing. We think that the reception of these movies could be genuinely impacted by whether or not they're able to be coming out in theaters.
Yep.
So that's something to keep in mind. So if you're watching a movie, think about if the movie is genuinely quality, is this something that you're going to want to see in theaters or something that you're okay seeing at home? And also, you might have to be okay with the idea of this movie not being as good as it would have been had you seen it in theaters.
Because you got to remember, we have a bunch of movies that got pushed back from 2020 into this year. Like Warner Brothers' entire slate from late last year to this year, all streaming and theatrical release at the same time, if theaters are open in your location with the global situation currently.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the movies that are coming out that may or may not translate well into theaters. It remains to be seen, right? I can't say, oh, well, people won't like them as much because they're not seeing it in the theaters.
Yep.
Like, it could genuinely, like, you know, I mean, it may not. So, but, you know, it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about comparing things to the MCU, right?
Yep.
So what does the MCU have coming out, Brad?
So MCU still has the long-awaited solo film of Black Widow.
That's right. We have this movie has been pushed back.
So, like you know,
you
besides
wouldn't
Wonder
believe.
Woman, like because Wonder Woman was pushed back like what 5 times.
Yeah, it's been pushed back a lot.
Black Widow is arguably in the same boat as Wonder Woman, so
Yeah.
it's very interesting to see what's going to happen with this film when it eventually releases.
So yeah, because Marvel has yet to do a theatrical MCU release directly to streaming, and I'm genuinely interested in seeing what the movie kind of looks like. I'm excited. So the idea in the title of this podcast is some of our most anticipated movies of 2021. Now they're all obviously going to be superhero movies because that's what we're talking about here. There's some other ones here. Now, do you truly anticipate Black Widow coming out? Are you excited for Black Widow?
Like, I think it's okay.
Expound.
So Black Widow, if they made this movie, it should have been made 5 years ago. It shouldn't have been made now after Endgame, when you already kill off her character. All they're doing now is just probably introducing the sister to her for her to take the place of Black Widow.
Yeah, and we really, you know, we could speculate what the purpose of this film is now.
We could, but that's just my guess of what's going to happen.
Right.
And I feel like it's too little too late just to capitalize on Scarlett Johansson's popularity.
I think that, and I kind of agree. So for me, a big factor, if you're going to factor in continuity, which is what superhero movies love to do, right? We love it when something that happens 10 years ago impacts the movies that we're watching now. So, like, in the case of Black Widow, it being more or less a prequel, that movie's really not going to impact really the events of Endgame.
It's just out there on its own.
Or what's coming out in the future.
Yeah.
Unless it does because of the multiverse.
Yes.
Right? So, with that, I do think that it could retroactively add a lot of depth to Natasha, and also could make us appreciate her more. Now, that's another good thing about what prequel movies have to do, is that you have to add value to the movies that came before it retroactively. You know, Star Wars prequels are a great example of this.
Yep.
Right? But, you know, that being said, it being a prequel, also, because we know that Natasha survives at the end of that film, because she eventually joins the Avengers.
Like, we know there's basically no threat to her anyway.
Yeah, so we know that there may not be all that much consequence. It's kind of like watching Wonder Woman 84 and what that movie was doing for me. Because, like, when you watch a movie like that, you're like, well, I know what happens at the end. Everything's fine because Justice League occurred.
Yep.
You know? So I'm excited for it. I like the idea of David Harbour making his superhero debut.
I'm very intrigued by that.
Well, it's not a superhero debut. I forgot he was in Hellboy.
He was in Hellboy.
And that movie sucked.
And he played a great Hellboy.
He was fine. That movie
David Harbour was a great Hellboy.
So maybe this is his Ryan Reynolds second chance or third chance.
I genuinely hope so, because he seems like a genuinely great actor.
Oh yeah, David Harbour's the man.
Hopefully he can get
he's
out
been
of
the
that
man for a long time.
He needs to get out of that Stranger Things bubble.
Yeah, honestly, like, you know, and David Harbour's been around for a long, long time. So I'm excited to see him like really put on a suit and just, you know, go at it as a Red Commando, I believe it is. So
yeah, he just Russian Captain America.
Yeah. So honestly, while I won't say it's at the top of my list, it's a movie that I'm excited to see go to streaming because I don't know if I would necessarily want to go to a theater for it.
Yeah, I think it's a better off just.
That might be a great couch movie.
Yeah.
I had a great time with Wonder Woman on the couch.
Yeah, I did too.
So sure, why not, right? You know, you get yourself your popcorn, you turn off the lights, get yourself a Diet Coke, call it a good day. So
Diet Coke?
right? I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty health conscious. I don't want the extra calories.
Gross.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Honestly, Diet Ginger Ale's where it's at for me. I see that face. You see, you can see the face now, listeners, because it's on video. Don't judge me for my drink choices.
You've already been well judged, Michael Jordan.
Oh my God. Okay, so next up, as far as MCU goes, we
should
have
be Shang-Chi.
Yeah, if that's how it's pronounced. I never, you're a bad fan. Never really read the Shang-Chi stuff.
I've never really read it either.
But it's Shang-Chi in the Ten Rings,
Yep.
right? So, Brad, do you know where the Ten Rings...
It's like the Mandarin or something like that, right?
Right, so the Ten Rings was the organization in the first Iron Man movie.
Huh.
So the Ten Rings... So, based off of the Mandarin, right?
Yes.
Because and that was kind of the idea, right? So the Ten Rings organization was the terrorist organization that kidnapped Tony Stark at the beginning of Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this was, of course, based off of the Ten Rings that the Mandarin possesses in the
For
comic
his
books.
powers
Yeah, for his
and-
powers
yeah.
in the comic books. The Mandarin being the primary villain.
Yeah.
So we don't necessarily know what the intention was when they were doing that. Maybe they were just going to allude to the fact that
His existence is...
yeah, in the first one, because they probably never anticipated the Mandarin ever being a factor.
Yeah.
When they were doing the MCU in the very first first movie.
Hopefully it changes up Iron Man 3 a little bit.
Yeah, so that's the thing, though. So the excitement has less to do with the first part, the Shang-Chi part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, a great character is a great character, and again, bad fan, never read Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see how they build upon the Ten Rings organization in this one. We're really bringing it full circle here.
Yeah.
Because are the Ten Rings building upon what they have, or are we finally truly getting the Mandarin?
I'm excited for that.
Because that's the thing, right? I mean, we got the Mandarin in Iron
Yeah.
Man 3, but we didn't get the Mandarin.
Yeah, no.
And now that magic is fully in the
It's
MCU.
an actual thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor Strange.
We can finally start
Mhm.
implementing some Mandarin-esque.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm definitely down for that. So yeah, I'm honestly, knowing very little about this movie, I'm actually really excited.
Okay. So, after that, we have a Sony product.
Maybe.
Well,
Maybe.
Venom, as of now.
Oh, that one we still have.
Venom, that's
I thought
coming.
you were talking about Morbius.
No, you said Morbius comes out in January.
It was pushed back to January
Yeah,
2022.
so Morbius by Jared Leto.
Jared Leto starring in Morbius. It's going to come out in January,
if
maybe.
he still has a career by then.
I mean, he's a godly singer, so he'll always have a career.
Yes,
And
but-
it's not his fault that Joker sucked. I thought that was fine. That's its own thing. But speaking about a movie that, just off the bat, I am not excited for all right, Venom 2.
Yeah. There
So-
will be carnage.
Yeah, so Venom 2.
That's the actual title.
Venom
people.
versus Little Orphan Annie.
You mean what's his name?
Woody
Woody
Harrelson?
Harrelson?
Yeah, well, you
Yeah.
saw what he looked like at the end of Venom 1.
He looked like Carrot Top.
Yeah, he had like the Little Orphan Annie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have no idea why they decided to wait till the second Venom movie to bring Carnage into the mix. Again, Spider-Man villain movies without Spider-Man is just an incredibly unappealing concept to me.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to mince words when I say that I was incredibly disappointed by that first Venom film.
I thought it was okay.
I was devastated.
I've never been a big fan of Venom anyway, but going to movies like, wow, this is a stupid movie. I like it.
I think that
You have to go in watching Venom like how you go in watching a Transformers movie. You know it's going to be
don't.
bad. You don't. But I go watch it like, wow, I got 2 hours to kill. Why not go watch this terrible movie?
Okay, so that being said, like, if Venom goes directly to streaming now, again, so at this point, Sony still has Venom.
Sony has the rights for Venom currently. Yes.
Yeah, so this is not an MCU thing.
No, it's completely away from the MCU.
So it probably won't go to streaming.
Yeah.
So that one you will have to pay to see.
Yep.
Great. Awesome. That will probably be a wait till it comes out. I don't know. When I paid money to go see Venom, I was mad. I wanted my $8 back. I was genuinely upset. Now, this is not to say... So, I also don't like Venom as a villain that much.
Yeah.
I don't really get the Venom hype. I never really have. I get the whole the interplanetary
Sludge
symbiote
that takes over your body and then...
Cool concept. I don't think it's really. I just don't. What's with the whole venomizing things?
I don't know.
Well, I don't get why we're venomizing villains. Like
it's like the zombie apocalypse and everything.
yeah, like I don't know.
Why is there always zombies?
I was in Coliseum of Comics today, and I'm seeing Funko Pop figures for a venomized Thanos. I never asked for that.
I don't think anyone did.
No, I mean I don't get.
Well, no, people probably
I don't
have.
get
That's
the
why they
Venom
made
hype.
it.
I don't know. Venom to me kind of has the same demographic of attraction as like Deadpool and Harley Quinn and like character and Joker and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just like people really like Venom and I really don't get it.
Yeah, I agree.
So sure, there's a movie about it. Sweet.
So jumping back to the MCU now.
Jumping back.
We have the Eternals.
The Eternals, that's right. Okay, yeah. I thought we were about to get into the big one there.
No.
So Eternals, Eternals, I think is going to be a really great way of exploring some of the more omnipotent elements of the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
The Eternals.
They're like basically the new gods of Marvel, right?
Yeah, right. So, and I never really read the Eternals either. Again, when I was reading comic books more intently when I was younger, and growing up with it, I was really very street level or very like main guys.
You
right?
get your one guy and walk away.
Yeah, like I liked my Thors, I liked my Caps, I liked my Spider-Mans. I really enjoyed my main continuity heroes and stuff. But the Eternals is a really great concept, especially as we begin to get into some of the more
abstract
elements of the MCU. Right, we're about to unlock a lot of really crazy stuff with the MCU.
Yeah, it's
about to get weird.
Very.
So when we introduced the Infinity Stones, we opened up the idea of us getting like Silver Surfer.
Like if you thought the quantum realm and the Infinity Stones and time travel was comic
wacky.
Booky.
Yeah.
Wait till you get to interdimensional travel, the multiverse,
Eternals,
gods, literal gods, not Thor. I'm sorry,
yeah.
Thor.
And honestly, we don't know much about the plot of Eternals, so it's hard to state.
And like there hasn't much released, no trailer, no sort of footage at all.
But the Eternals are generally a group of omnipotent beings that are sent to that, in a way, oversee the events that occur within the Marvel universe.
They're like the Watchers, but have more direct influence.
Yes. So I'm excited to see what happens with that.
Mm-hmm.
So looking forward to that. We're moving on into what everybody's been talking about.
Yeah, the big MCU film that may or may not come out this year. It's still up in the air.
I think we have December 17th as a potential timeline right now.
For now, but if it's already that late in the year, it's probably going to get pushed back.
Yeah. So with this,
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man 3, the sequel to Far From Home.
Yep.
Is all we know about it. There's been a lot of speculation with this movie, and there's really not a lot that we actually truly know.
We know Charlie Cox is in it.
We know Charlie Cox is in it.
We know J.K. Simmons is in it.
Yes.
Tom Holland, Zendaya, the original cast.
So the news for this movie has been, allegedly, we are now, because of, with fans getting really excited at the idea of what occurred in Spider-Verse, we now know that the multiverse is a thing and can potentially bring in more Spider-Men.
Mm-hmm.
So fans were like, wouldn't it be great to bring in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield?
Mm-hmm.
And they're allegedly, we don't know a lot. There's a lot that we think we know, but we don't.
Yeah.
Allegedly, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in the fold.
Yes.
Jamie Foxx is Electro.
I think they dropped that.
They think they dropped that?
I think they dropped that.
Honestly, this thing changes all the time.
Like, I know they have what's-his-name back as Octavius.
Yeah, they have Doc Ock in the fold. So regardless, we have multiverse villains, different versions of these villains appearing. So there is a chance that there are 3 Spider-Men.
If they don't reenact the meme, then there's something wrong.
Yeah, 3 Spider-Men, roughly 3 villains.
If that.
Daredevil in this Spider-Man movie.
Well, the Sinister Six might just be a thing too.
That's a lot of stuff.
It is.
And I don't know. So, like, is this movie anticipated? Yes, I am anticipating this movie coming out. If what the rumors are indicating is actually what's occurring, then
this is going to be a big movie.
Then there's a lot to discuss. But truth be told, like, I've never seen a Spider-Man movie handle more than one villain properly. That's live action. Spider-Verse was a masterpiece, but
like Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi trilogy had Green Goblin, right?
that was fine.
That was fine. You had
Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock, that was fine.
That's
And
my that's my favorite Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, that movie is incredible.
Spider-Man 3
Was a disaster.
better than the next two for the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy.
Oh man, that's gonna raise some heat too, because some people really do like that Amazing
and
Spider-Man.
I love the Lizard, by the way.
Yeah.
The Lizard's my favorite
Amazing
Spider-Man villain.
was a fine watch. I liked Amazing Spider-Man 1 more than I liked Spider-Man.
Oh, for
Raimi
sure.
3.
Like, there's no reason to introduce Sinister
Amazing
Six.
Spider-Man 2 is one of the most horrible things I've ever seen.
And it's such a shame because the acting in that movie is so great.
Andrew Garfield really does. It's not Andrew Garfield's fault that those movies were not that great.
The writing team, the directing team,
God.
you could tell there's studio interference all over that film.
So that's my thing. Like, I just don't see. I don't get why people are asking for this. Like, we've never seen this done right. So why now?
Multiverse.
Right. So why now? Like, when you let the fans have the power, bad things happen.
Yeah.
That's just what happens.
When fans get too much power.
When fans get too much. Listen.
Star Wars is a prime example of that.
Suicide Squad is a prime example of this.
Hot Topic, the movie.
Yeah, so, like, that's the thing. Like, listen, fans will always love a good story. The fans were not asking for a Miles Morales movie, but they got one, and thank God they did.
It was a breath of fresh air.
Oh, my God, right? So, like, that's the thing. Nobody was asking for the Infinity Gauntlet story, but they got it. And they did not get the Infinity Gauntlet story that was present in the comics.
No, completely different.
Very different. So, like, that's the thing. Fans will love good stories.
Yes. All you have to do is focus on...
Just write the story.
Yep.
Don't listen to what normies want, because we are not... I don't listen to what I want. I'm not a writer. I'm not a movie writer. Oh, we have some... I don't know if you can hear this.
We have
Maybe
some
not.
chatter in the background.
Yeah, again, I told you, we are subject to the noise that occurs in the outdoors, and that's what makes it exciting.
Yes.
Right? Who doesn't love company? Happiness loves company. So moving on. So that's our MCU lineup, right?
Okay, yeah, that's the entire MCU
So
as
Black
of
Widow,
now.
Eternals,
Shang-Chi,
and then
Venom, and maybe Spider-Man.
Yeah, Venom being the Sony offering, and then
maybe Spider-Man.
and then maybe Spider-Man if all that looks good.
And now what we have are really just 2 DC films this year.
Just 2 DC films
Next
this year.
2022 is the big year for DC movies.
Yeah, they're hyping up a lot. We're filming Aquaman beginning this year, ideally, allegedly.
Shazam's going to be filming later this year.
Yeah, so 2022 is ideally when we start getting all these movies, rocking and rolling. But we have 2.
Well, no, we have 3. I'm sorry.
We have 3.
We have the butchered Frankenstein corpse of what is the Justice League.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Yep.
And
then we have the Suicide Squad with James Gunn at the helm.
The James Gunn Suicide Squad film.
And then we have, my favorite, this is the one I'm looking forward to in DC slate the most, is Black Adam.
Black Adam, that's right. Yeah, so that's a to be determined start date. That's just what we've got.
As of now, it's in December, but that could very well be pushed back into 2022.
Yeah, so, and we really haven't seen anything in regards to. All we know is that we have a casting for Hawkman.
We have a casting for Captain Atom. We have a not Captain Atom.
Black Adam.
The Atom.
Yeah.
The Atom is a separate character.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Little guy.
Yep. No, he's a big guy.
He's a big guy?
Yeah, Captain Atom can go back and forth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ray Palmer can go. He's like Ant-Man.
Oh yeah. See,
Captain
again,
Atom,
I don't pay attention to those characters.
Yeah, Captain Atom just gets
What's
bigger.
that? That's the Justice Society of America.
Yeah,
right?
that's JSA.
Okay, yes.
JSA is going to be the main focus of this
I never really read JSA.
JSA is very interesting. They're a lot more local than they are.
I was a League kid.
Yeah, I was too.
We were all League kids. We had the Justice League animated series.
Yeah, like once you grew up with that, it's like, wow, I know who Hawkgirl is, and that's it.
Yeah, right. We had Hawkgirl, but we never really talk about Hawkman. I was always familiar with Hawkman.
Yeah.
I was always familiar with Hawkman through other mediums.
Yeah, because Hawkman, he's never really been present in mainline comics. It's kind of hard to find Hawkman media in general nowadays.
Yeah, but he's like omnipotent, dude. Like Hawkman's like a beast.
Him and Hawkwoman are immortal.
Yeah. So, but we're way off track here. But let's talk about Black Adam then, since we're on the topic. So, Black Adam is probably my most anticipated DC movie of the year.
Yes.
Simply because this is actually a fan thing that we really that people did want.
Yep.
And honestly, people were just saying a long time ago that we need a Black Adam movie with Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam.
And who else could play Black Adam?
I mean, probably a few people, but like Dwayne Johnson is the best.
Like, when someone can literally weigh 500 pounds and put on a suit better than most people, and they have to work out for that suit. Like,
yeah, well, Dwayne Johnson is a very good character casting for Black Adam, and honestly could play the anti-hero very well.
I believe
and I believe Dwayne Johnson did already reveal on DC Fandom that he's taking more of an anti-hero type role.
Yeah, that's how he is, and more so the Rebirth and New 52 line of comics. He was the anti-hero.
Yeah, and I think that's what got people to really like him.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be exciting. That's gonna be an exciting watch. We really don't know much about it. All we know is that we have
a few castings. We have an idea when it's going to take place in terms of the timeline. Whether it's DCEU, we don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of hope so, because what I want to happen, it's probably not going to happen anyway.
I think they're going to multiverse it.
I kind of hope not.
That's just what DC does.
Yeah.
It's of course it's canon. It's the multiverse.
Like, I'm sorry, bro, but I want to see Henry Cavill Superman and Zach Levi Shazam fight Dwayne Johnson Black Adam.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Right? Like,
so
that's what I want.
That's like long term, right? We want that by 2025.
Hopefully.
So,
please, DC.
Yeah, right.
Listen.
So do something right. We got Black Adam. That's going to be an incredibly anticipated film, highly anticipated purely because of the casting alone. And I'm honestly excited to see a live action Hawkman.
I am too.
So
I'm excited to see a live action JSA.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's going to be. I think that's going to really help expand
the DC mythos.
The DC mythos, and also put some really great characters in a positive light. Whoever thought that we would get people talking about, say, people like Bucky Barnes or Thanos, right?
Yep.
Those are, or Doctor Strange. Those are household names now. So why not Hawkman? Right?
I agree. Yeah.
Why not the Atom fellow that gets big?
It's
the exact opposite of what atoms do. Atoms are small.
That's just what the character does.
Ridiculous, right? But then again, there's Ant-Man, who also
remember
gets
JSA
big.
where
he's Giant Man when he gets big in the comics.
Yeah, but JSA, like, that was the Justice League before the Justice League even existed.
Yeah, no, you're right. So I'm excited to see that. That's going to be great. Moving into the movie that doesn't need as much to discuss. Not the butchered Frankenstein that is Justice League.
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
We have a Suicide Squad. So we've been knowing about Suicide Squad for a long time now.
It's been in development forever.
Yeah. So
ever since really James Gunn had his
when James Gunn got fired.
Fallout.
Yeah. So to catch everybody up that may not be aware, James Gunn directed the Guardians of the Galaxy films.
Both films. And he did all the the Guardian scenes in Infinity War and Endgame.
Yes.
And that's why they're still in character.
So James Gunn, as a result of some not kosher tweets that we do not condone here on the Buried in a Nerdy podcast.
It happened over, was it 12 years ago now?
Yeah, a long time ago. People do change. A long time ago, Disney uncovered those, did not want the bad PR, canned James Gunn. Warner Brothers was like, well, we got this incredible the director that's really great at group comedy, as evidenced by Scooby-Doo 2 Monster Island. He's really great at group comedy. Let's go ahead and let's try to fix Suicide Squad. So James Gunn did decide to completely revamp Suicide Squad. Like, it is not the Suicide Squad that we know.
The only layover character you really have is Harley Quinn. And no, what's his name is back as Captain Boomerang too, right? Jai Courtney? Is he back as Captain Boomerang?
I think so. I'll have to check. There's so many people in that one, including John Cena.
Idris Elba's back.
Idris Elba's there. We got John Cena's in there.
Yeah, John Cena.
And then a bunch of people. My God, like, we don't have our notes. In front of
Nathan Fillion's in his first superhero role ever.
Oh wait, is that true?
Yeah,
Nathan Fillion in there.
Yeah, Nathan Fillion's in there. He's gonna probably die, and that sucks.
Fair enough. I mean, that's what the Suicide Squad's about, man. So with this movie, what I understand is that they are not at all taking any cues from the first Suicide Squad. This is a complete reboot.
Complete different. Get out of my face.
Like, Suicide Squad 1 never existed, right?
Yeah,
this is not Suicide Squad 2.
As far as I'm aware.
Yeah, this is a brand new movie. Completely, it's like Jurassic World when they completely pretended that Jurassic Parks 2 and 3 didn't exist.
Yep.
So cool.
Even though they did.
Yeah, they didn't. Those movies never existed. So like the so Suicide Squad is a complete revamp of the original one. I don't necessarily think that's a good idea. I think that does confuse things. Like I feel as if like if you are going to mess up, unfortunately, I feel like that's just the cross you have to bear. Well, you really can't afford to completely reboot a movie like that less than 5 years later.
Well, DC is the king of, messing things up and putting a giant...
Warner Brothers DC is.
Yes. Like, not in the animation department, though.
Or the comics. I mean, sometimes in the comics.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's just comics.
Especially Death Metal recently.
Yeah, and then Brian Michael Bendis is Superman.
Stop, please. It hurts.
But regardless, so I don't necessarily think that a revamp is a good idea for branding purposes. But I mean, listen, if you just want the creative freedom and not be tethered to the piece of junk that was the first one, then sure, fine. Mm-hmm. Totally fine with it. If we get a great movie out of it, and honestly, I think we will. It's a great casting. Mm-hmm. It's a great director. Also, and honestly, again, as much as I don't really like anything that Margot Robbie has been in as Harley Quinn, her Harley Quinn is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Just her not her casting itself, but the scripts around her have been very weak. The movies
that she's been given have not been amazing. So hopefully James Gunn can do some great stuff with that character. And then, of course...
Your least favorite thing? And
it's not my least favorite thing. I just don't get it. All right, guys.
The Snyder Cut.
We're back on the Snyder Cut on the Bearded and Nerdy podcast. Buckle back in. We're just talking about it again.
Someone doesn't like it, and we've had this agreement to never discuss it. Because
it's not that I don't like it. I just don't get it. Like, okay, so... Revamp. Recap.
So BVS, right?
The events of Batman versus Superman.
It came out and everyone loved it. Yeah, that's not what happened.
No, that was not a highly acclaimed movie. That movie was directed by Zack Snyder.
It was.
Zack Snyder was then there to create the sequel to that movie,
Justice League. And after, you could say...
Some unfortunate events, Zack Snyder had to leave the project.
He left the project. You had, Jeff Johns and...
Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon took over. And then you had a lot of studio... Completely reshot it. Studio interference everywhere.
And created essentially a rushed and not that good product.
Yeah, a Frankenstein of a movie.
Out of Justice League.
Yeah.
So a lot of people for a long time have been campaigning to get Zack Snyder's version of Justice League out on the big screen.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that people did not anticipate is that this movie never fucking existed. Sorry, I swore. I have to adjust that on the thing.
Yeah.
This movie never actually existed. Zack Snyder had a bunch of ideas, a bunch of scrap shots, and eventually Warner Brothers, because there was an organic grassroots movement for this movie to be created, gave Zack Snyder artistic licensing to create his version of the Justice League movie.
Because streaming services need content, guys.
Yeah, so Zack Snyder's Justice League is now
a thing.
It's done.
It's completed. There's supposed to be another trailer.
They reshot everything.
There's supposed to be another trailer release before the release sometime in March.
We've seen some trailers. So this movie is coming out. So this movie
is a 4-hour...
Yeah. And
as of now, because that's what Zack Snyder said on his Twitter.
It's a 4-hour movie that will be released on HBO Max.
I don't know what day.
Like, it's allegedly in March.
Is it like March 12th, I think?
Yeah, somewhere in March.
Yeah, it's like
early
March.
And it's supposed to be released in, like, increments, right? 3 or 4 increments.
That's what the original plan was. But according to Zack Snyder on his Twitter, take that as you may, right? Comes from the man himself. It's a 4-hour cluster of a movie.
Yeah, so...
It's like watching Lord of the Rings 3 times.
So it's not... But this is not this is not a sequel to Justice League. This is just another reboot of a movie that they're trying to undo.
Yes.
So with that, we have the Zack Snyder's Now, to say that this movie is not anticipated would be a lie.
Yes.
People
are very interested in this movie.
Have campaigned for this movie, regardless of what your opinion is. And I don't feel like I need to restate why I think this is a bad idea. So I won't. But... people did campaign for this movie. This was a grassroots movement, and as such, a major studio listened to it, and maybe that's a victory in and of itself. I also think that there's an ethical victory here. The events that occurred with Zack Snyder having the movie ripped from his hands
and completely butchered from his original vision and what they did to him afterwards.
Yeah, regardless of whether or not you think that Zack Snyder's cut would have been good,
That's not the point.
That's neither here nor there.
It's just how you treat another human being.
Yeah, Warner Brothers treated Zack Snyder not well.
Investigations happened because of it too.
Yeah, and then
Ray
also,
Fisher just lost his career basically because of it.
Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns allegedly did not treat their actors very well. Jason Momoa has gone forth and has agreed with Ray Fisher. Ray Fisher has been who played Cyborg, has been very, very forward.
Gal Gadot has come out and saying stuff.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck literally quit. The only person in terms of the Justice League we don't know anything happened to is Henry Cavill.
Yeah, and Henry Cavill doesn't speak at all.
No, he's very private on his acting career.
So that being said, there is a potential moral and ethical victory to this movie coming out. Mm-hmm. The original vision for a director who's very artistic visually
was
the vision for that this director had it ripped from his hands
mm-hmm.
is now coming to light.
Yes,
and as such, I think we can kind of celebrate that.
Yes.
So. Looking here, so that being said, I think that this movie, it's hard to say what's going to happen with this movie. I think that the general public, there is not a lot of, outside of the release the Snyder Cut campaign, there really isn't a lot of public interest,
It depends. I've seen a lot of random people just questioning whether this is an actual thing or not.
What this is. Exactly. That's the thing. It's confusing. You and I have known about this for a long time because we are nerds and we follow this.
Yes.
But general people don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't know that this isn't a sequel to the Justice League. They
mm-hmm.
don't know what it's not like there's been a bunch of TV spots for this film.
It's just been very private, very short.
With a massive budget.
Mm-hmm.
So why?
Because streaming services need money.
Right? So I hope to God that this does what Zack Snyder is hoping it will do.
If not, I think the 2021 slate of movies will hopefully get HBO Max.
Jesus Christ, I hope so. So, yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be watching it regardless
mm-hmm.
because at this point, how can I not?
Yep.
So, moving into
other movies.
So here's the thing: we obviously are super excited about our superhero films. We are, we are heavily invested in these characters, and the cinematic universes that these characters have been involved in have caused us to have a lot of a personal attachment to what these characters will be doing in the future.
Mm.
That being said, it's not like we only watch superhero movies.
Yeah.
So. Brad, there is a movie that you and I have been incredibly excited about.
Yes.
At first, I was confused when let's take it back. Let's take it back. Way when they announced this back when we were like in high school, right?
Yep.
Like high school or early college?
This was, I want to say early college.
They were just, Legendary Pictures announced the existence of a potential MonsterVerse, climaxing with the release of a movie that would pit the two titans of monster movies
against each other.
Godzilla versus King Kong.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
So here's the thing. The MonsterVerse, I think, has been under-discussed.
Oh, in terms of cinematic universes.
They expect now. Legendary Pictures put a lot of eggs in this basket.
Oh,
they expected these movies to be way bigger than any of them turned out to be.
The first Godzilla movie did well in the box office.
I like 2014.
And then Kong did well in the box office.
Kong Skull Island was a banger.
And the thing is, after Endgame came out in 2019,
nothing was going to do well after Endgame.
Nothing did well. There was a box office drought, and King of the Monsters suffered because of it.
Yeah, so there were 3 movies that were involved in the movie that would eventually become Godzilla vs. King Kong. So there was Godzilla 2014,
yes.
Kong Skull Island, and then Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yes.
So these movies eventually are now going to climax into the ever so delayed Godzilla vs. King Kong film.
Oh my God, it's been delayed 4 times.
We got our first clip at San Diego Comic-Con 2 years ago, right?
It wasn't San Diego. The first clip was just a little blip.
Yeah, it was just
from Brazil Comic-Con.
Oh, really?
Brazil, because Brazil is another big San Diego type event where they,
mm-hmm.
and New York type event where they release footage, and it's usually where they update or show their release slate for the future.
Okay.
And they just show Kong on an aircraft carrier punching Godzilla in the face.
Yeah, so now we are finally getting. We're getting Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yes.
Brad and I have been fans of old school monster movies for many, many years, and that's actually something we have in common with with our occasional co-host Duncan Miller.
Yep.
Also a huge fan of
the Titans of cinema.
Of the Titans of cinema, right?
Yep.
You know, so that being said, this is the first time now this is not new. Godzilla vs. King Kong has happened, I believe, twice before.
Once
before.
It came out once before, and it came out in 1962.
Wasn't there like a Japanese release, but then also an American release?
No, there's no alternate ending that you're thinking of.
Okay.
That's never existed.
Was that just like a rumor mill?
Yeah, that was complete rumor mill. I have both releases, and there's no difference in
There's
the
no
ending.
difference in. Oh yeah. So but there were two.
There were two different releases.
It's like Gojira and Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Exactly.
Like, you know, like there were.
They changed up words.
They changed up some things.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
And Kong won in that movie, by the way, officially stated by the Toho reps who made the movie.
So this is the Americanized, you know,
rematch,
full Hollywood budget.
Yep.
Now, I loved the character design that Legendary Pictures has brought to a lot of these monsters, both new and old.
Yes.
Like, you know, so Godzilla King of the Monsters featured some favorites.
Yeah.
Right? Some Mothra,
King Rodan, King Ghidorah.
King Ghidorah, right? So, but they also brought in some new monsters with incredible designs. I think King Kong also looks amazing in his own film. So I am incredibly excited to see these two go against each other. Now, this movie also does feature a young star of Stranger Things fame,
Millie Bobby Brown.
They really do bring in the heavy hitters. Godzilla 2014 brought in Bryan Cranston at the peak of his Breaking Bad fame.
Popularity. You had Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yep. Elizabeth Olsen before she got famous with Scarlet Witch.
Yep, you know, and Elizabeth Olsen has been a heavy hitter for a long time. Scarlet Witch just like, woof, my God.
That blew her over the roof.
And then, but now Millie Bobby Brown's involved. So, I mean, was involved in Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yep.
Her role, I think, was kind of diminished. I wasn't super thrilled with the direction they took with the character, but hey, I'm down for second chances.
Yeah, I think she'll be fine. You don't have crazy terrorist mother wanting to have Titans Thanos the entire world, so.
Yeah, depending on how you look at it, right? Depending on how you look at it. You know, that's the thing about Godzilla King of the Monsters. It really is up to interpretation. And I think that they bring a lot of really great Godzilla-specific elements to that movie that made it digestible. Like they brought in the Oxygen Destroyer, which is great.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what they bring into this one. I will be watching the 1960s release of the Godzilla vs. King Kong that I haven't seen since I was like 9.
It's a very cheesy movie.
But I want to see if there's any elements that they translate from that movie into this one.
I'll let you know, fans have been petitioning for this one thing to be thrown into this movie the entire time.
What are the things that the fans
There's
want?
a memeable moment that it's a GIF that most people know it from, where Kong shows a treat on Godzilla's throat.
Oh God, is that where
that's everyone that I know of in the Godzilla community, because I keep heavy tabs in that community. I'm very active in that community.
Brad responds to forums on that.
I do. I don't respond to forums in anything by the way. Like I'm not a very social person in terms of other forums, but
I'll talk to you guys, the fans.
Yes.
The fans. Thanks, Mom, for listening.
And one other random friend.
Yeah, right.
Who comes across this.
Yeah, appreciate it. So, so we've got Godzilla 20 versus King Kong is probably going to be a blast to watch. At the very least, if the plot sucks,
you're gonna have two great.
The fights are gonna be baller.
Yeah. That's exactly what I hope. Well, not hope happens. I hope the plot's great.
The fight choreography has been stellar, and for monster movie fight choreography has been stellar in the last 3 films, and I don't anticipate this being any different.
Yep.
So, super excited to finally be getting that now. That is definitely going to be a theater watch for me. That's going to be a rent-a-theater watch for us.
And remember, coming out March 26th.
Yeah. So. Really?
Yeah.
We're that close.
Wow. Oh, fun little interesting tidbit for all you viewers out there. So, March 26th, well, let me go back a little bit. So, Warner Brothers is the one distributing this film, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's Legendary Pictures. Who is bankrolled by.
Who's bankrolled by Warner Bros., who's now distributing this film.
Yeah.
Warner Bros. Owns DC, in which case they bankrolled BVS. And it also released on March 26th.
So, wow. So, we're seeing 2 titans go at each other exactly how many years apart?
4 years apart.
4 years apart. God, I hope this one is better than that one.
I don't have any doubts that it will be.
Thank God, because it really will not take much.
Yeah.
So
Marshmallow Doomsday.
And then, of course, we also have Dune coming out this year.
Another legendary movie.
Yeah, another Legendary Pictures movie, also featuring giant sandworms, which are monsters.
I don't know much. I just know there's a lot of famous people in this movie.
Yeah, well, this has a very star-studded cast. Dave Bautista is in it. Josh Brolin's in it.
Jason
Momoa's in it. Timothy Chalamet is in it. So we got a lot of heavy hitters in this film, based, of course, off the highly acclaimed science fiction novels. So with this one, I believe this is a two-parter movie.
A two-part movie?
Yeah. So because there's a lot to cover with Dune. Dune is not a book; it's multiple. It's a Dune series.
Yeah,
so
it's like 8 or 9 books, right?
Yeah. So I know, honestly, here's the thing: I'm not smart. I don't read that much.
I've never read the Dune books.
But my man Duncan has pretty much informed me of all the knowledge necessary, and. As such, I think that casting is solid. I mean, it looks really, really good. High budget, and so far, as far as like on cast, on screen, or sorry, on set interactions, seems to be pretty drama free so far.
Because there is a trailer for this movie already.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
I don't think I've seen the trailer yet.
Yeah, it's a good watch. It's a good watch, and I was recently reading an interview with Jason Momoa as he was on the set of the movie. Very excited about it. I'm gonna have to go ahead, prepare, read myself the books there. I'm just excited to see Jason Momoa hit some stuff. We got some heavy action actors in there, so hopefully that science fiction element really does come into play. We see some variety. We have a large variety of actors with a variety of skill sets there. So looking forward to seeing what's going on.
Yep.
But that's it. So we've got a lot of movies coming out here in 2021.
Oh yeah.
And if you can't make it to if you can't rent a theater, because we want you all to stay 6 feet apart.
$90 at an AMC.
Yeah, we want y'all to stay masked up. Don't want y'all packing in movie theaters to go see these films. Want y'all to stay safe. So a lot of movies that we can be watching from home. Lots of movies we can be renting theaters out for. So support your local movie theaters by doing that sort of stuff, because they're struggling right now without getting that box office stuff.
Without any sort of share.
Yeah, it's tough for them. If you enjoyed the movie theater experience before, if that's something that you can find yourself doing, and you can do it safely, absolutely. Right? And of course, and going back to what you're initially talking about, support your local comic book stores too. Everybody's hurting right now. We're not going out as much as we used to. So these stores need some traffic. So if there's a book you've been looking for, order it in through your local comic book store. They'll order it through Diamond, and so that way you can at least give them a little bit of cash. So that being said, I think this is a great place to wrap it up. I will see you all next time. Hopefully the video turns out okay and that you all can see it too. All right. Peace.